Heart health during the holidays. Let's bring in Dr. Jane Morgan, who we always love to have on the show. In your holiday reds, we love to see it. Unfortunately, this isn't the happiest of topics. Right. Yeah, but thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what holiday, or rather the holiday heart, came from and what it means.
Yeah, so it really means that during this time period between Christmas and New Year, this 7-day period, that's when in the United States we experience the most heart attacks any other time of year. And so it's called holiday heart because what we see is this celebratory binge drinking, and possibly even more so this year since we have had to cut back our celebrations the last couple of years. We may be prone to overdoing it this year and develop holiday heart, which is this atrial fibrillation, so where the top chambers of your heart begin to shake and vibrate instead of pumping normally. And you can feel lightheaded, you can be dizzy, you can pass out, you can have shortness of breath, and you absolutely should not ignore it in the middle of your revelry. People are prone to ignore it. Oh, it'll go away, I've just had too much to drink. But we should absolutely not ignore it, especially since it often can happen in people who are healthy. These are not people who have heart problems. These are people who are healthy, and so you're prone to ignore those symptoms.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Is this for people who maybe have had heart problems in the past, or should everyone really be heeding this warning?
Everybody should be heeding this warning. However, if you have heart problems, you definitely are more at risk. And what are the other things that cause this risk? It's not only all of the high levels of alcohol, it's all of these rich foods that we're surrounded by that we haven't seen in a long time, and we may be prone to overindulging on all of the salt and all of the fat that's in those foods that also can push us over the edge when you combine that with alcohol into what we call holiday heart. It's a misnomer of the term holiday heart because it's not fun, but you may end up with a trip to the emergency room.
But it definitely helps you remember it because the term is like, okay, what does that mean? So what are the signs people should look out for, particularly like you mentioned with food? They could be like, is this heartburn? How do you kind of differentiate and know this is time to actually do something about it?
Yeah, so it's probably hard to differentiate, but if you have been previously healthy and now you are experiencing dizziness, lightheadedness, chest pain, shortness of breath, and you've been drinking a lot, more so than usual, you may want to think about it. If you've been indulging in a lot of these rich foods that are high in salt, very delicious, high in fat, and you start to feel unsteady or unwell, you maybe need to consider it. And certainly if you've been traveling, if you're on medications and you've been skipping your medications, if you haven't been hydrating, these are all clues that you may be developing holiday heart syndrome.
And so do you have any recommendations for people how to healthily partake in these holiday celebrations? Because sometimes one drink leads to another. You know, you don't want to offend someone by not eating their what have you. So kind of how do you balance it out?
That's right. It is a negotiation, right? You don't want to turn down a dish and insult someone. You know, obviously what we recommend is that you moderate your intake of alcohol. Easier said than done during the holidays. You may have already had too much before you realize you should have moderated. The other thing is to hydrate. You've got to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You drink a glass of alcohol, drink a bottle of water. Drink a glass of alcohol, drink a bottle of water. And then remember to stay on your fitness routine. Any exercise that you've been doing, try to continue that during the holidays. Oftentimes we get off schedule, the gyms are closed, or they have irregular hours, it's cold outside, or you're traveling and you get off of your fitness routine. So try to stay with your fitness routine. And if you are taking medications, take those medicines religiously. Do not skip. Do not score them in half. Don't take them in the evening when you should be taking them in the morning. Do exactly what you would do at your normal time. And let's all be healthy and not be a part of this 7-day period in the United States of holiday heart, where we have not only increased emergency room visits, but the most deaths from heart attacks.
Right, it's the happiest time of the year, but it's also a time where we really need to be careful of how we are celebrating it.
Right.
All right, Dr. Jane Morgan, as always, thank you so much for joining us with this really important information.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.